What up, guys? Welcome to the Sound Centric Podcast. I'm Samuel Sarfo.
I'm Adam Dash.
And thank you guys for tuning in for another episode. Today we have a very special guest with us from Staten Island, New York. You may know him as Stoic. He's easily one of the most talented producers that we have of this generation, and his work has extended to the likes of CJ Fly, Mick Jenkins, J.I.D, and the list just goes on. So there's no reason to keep going. But he's laid down a visionary and amazing blueprint and platform for a lot of artists to grow from. So if you're an up-and-coming producer, artist, really just any creative right now, this is gonna be the episode for you, and it's gonna resonate with you. But Stoic, thank you so much for being here, and welcome to Sound Centric.
Sam, thank you both. Thanks for the nice intro. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Whilst throwing buys exclusive beats, please, guys, help
Please,
them
out. Bro. This house isn't paying for itself.
Yeah. Man, we don't mess with YouTube MP3 converter. Buy that exclusive.
Nah, you know what's funny? Someone actually commented recently. They're like, "Yo, you say like, where's the free download button?" I just said YouTube's MP3. Like, do it. I don't care.
It's my entire life.
Whatever. Yeah,
my entire life right there.
Yeah, I don't mind. I've done it.
We have a lot of things to dive into, but first I want to ask you, because I'm a huge fan of this person. I've followed you for years, and you've made a lot of J.I.D type beats. What did it feel like? And you make Mick Jenkins type beats. What did it feel like getting the man himself on your beat?
Oh my God. I remember it like so vividly. So the song Smoke Breakdance was already, me and Mick already had made that. And like 2 months after I thought the song was finished, he sends me a text with like a random file, and he goes, "Don't send this to anyone." And that's all he said. I didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh shit, what is this?" And I listened, and I heard JID at the end. I couldn't believe it. I was driving and I stopped. I had to pull over. I probably listened to it 100 times that day. I couldn't believe it. It was an amazing verse too. So props to JID. You know, he always kills the shit.
That's awesome. I imagine you reacting like how Travis when he saw the Drake verse on Sicko Mode, just like running around your house.
Yeah. It's funny. I was with my homies and we were just bugging out. And I remember we were like, all right, we got to celebrate. It was like 2 PM on a Saturday. We're like, yeah, we're going to go out drinking right now. Yeah, it was great. We had a blast.
And the verse is so good. And he does sort of the melodical part and he goes right into the bars. It's just, the song's amazing.
Yeah, he really brought it all on that verse, and Mick too, obviously. But I'm really happy that they chose to use that beat because I was very proud of that beat because I didn't use any samples on it, and I played all the instruments, and I made it in my bedroom on my laptop, so it was just like a nice feeling.
Yeah.
And just to get this right too, originally you're gonna use that instrumental for your own project, correct?
I don't remember if it was something like that. I did record a demo over it of me singing, which is somewhere floating around on TikTok right now. But yeah, I was thinking of maybe putting out a track, and yeah, I'm happy that I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's always difficult too, because if you're a producer and you make something for your own kind of project, and then you work and collaborate with another artist and they want it, what's going through your head at that point? Let it go. It's Mick Jenkins' work now, or
yeah, it really depends on who the artist is. Like, it's such a fulfilling feeling to make your own thing rather than give it to someone else. And now it's kind of theirs too. But if the artist is someone that I really love and I've listened to them for such a long time, like Mick, I'm probably going to give over that beat.
And now, so we're in a different new day and age where, as a producer, it's not like what Kanye had to go through, where you're going like to label and hoping like someone picks your beat. So you've utilized YouTube. There's a lot of producers like you that I'm sure you're friends with. I want to know more about the YouTube like community of you producers, like how close you guys are, how you started building your business off of it, because I would guess that you guys make a lot more money than people actually know about, because there's a lot of people like me who are buying the $30 MP3 or buying the exclusive beat.
Yeah, the YouTube producer community, I love, like, a lot of the guys I've met, and actually some of my best friends in the world right now I met from YouTube, from production. Pilot
That's awesome.
Kid, Eerie Skies, Bailey
Yeah.
Daniel. Those are like three of my best friends, and we're actually all taking a trip to LA next
Fire.
month. Yeah, yeah. So like, I love the community. There are, I think in the past like 5 years, the guys that like my peers have really reinvented the type beat game and showed people like these are real beats. Like artists
Yeah.
like these are like industry level beats, and just because they're on YouTube doesn't make them
Yeah.
any better or worse. So
And to
I
go,
think it's great.
and to go off that, so I'm not sure this is how you pronounce it, but Batman, BVT man, he
Yes.
has J. Cole hop on his song. How do you guys react in the community? Like, oh, one of the goats actually saw a type beat, and he's like,
Yeah.
and that note he sent to him really shows that you guys are amazing musicians and not just some group to put in.
Yeah, I remember that day. Everyone was going crazy because, you know, everyone's had their success here and there. You know, my friend Pilot Kid has a track that with Joey Badass that came from a YouTube beat. Obviously, me with J.I.D that was also a YouTube beat.
Mhm.
But for a guy like Cole to be scouring J. Cole type beats on YouTube is
It's awesome.
amazing, and it just shows like there really is no ceiling to this thing.
hmm And I also want to pick your brain a little bit and honestly push back. And I know a lot of artists are really thankful for that YouTube community, the type beats and everything, being able to utilize that, practice, and also just kind of discover their sound. But there's also another side to it where producers and specifically up and coming producers are now just trying to make type beats, trying to sound like what's already out there. And then
Mhm.
you have certain artists. I remember Russ, and he got some backlash for this, for blaming producers on why hip hop may be stagnating in sound because producers aren't evolving their sound and because producers are trying to make type beats and again copy what's out there. But I wanted to
Mhm.
know what you think about that.
Um, yeah, I don't think that's a great take because
hmm
that's all music is. That's all music has ever been is, um, you know, borrowing sounds from this
Mhm.
and using influences. Nothing exists in a vacuum. So to say that just because people are labeling them as type beats, you know, it's not progressing at all, I don't think is fair.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of guys that make type beats that make some stuff that I've never heard before. And it's like,
hmm
I even have that problem a lot where, you know, I still make type beats all the time and I upload them every week. And I'll be like, damn, this doesn't sound like anybody.
Yeah.
And that's a problem I run into a lot. So I don't think that's a fair take by Mr. Russ, but you know, maybe he knows more than I do. So
Yeah. So how
yeah.
does that work? Do you come into a song? I assume based on your answer that you don't, but do you have an idea of an artist? You're like, oh, I want J.I.D or I want Cole or I want Freddie Gibbs on this sounding beat. And also, you don't have a producer tag specific. Like you have a sound that goes off in the
mhm,
beginning of your songs, but you don't
yeah,
have like a very loud voice saying like Stoic.
yeah.
What went into that decision too?
Um, well, to answer your first question, I don't go into anything trying to sound like trying to make any specific sound. Usually,
Yeah,
sometimes I'll be, you know, motivated by whatever I'm listening to that day, and I'll be like, oh, you know, this is cool. Maybe I'll make some drums like this and something like that. But usually, it's just like whatever direction the feeling of the music takes me that day.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, as for not having a beat tag, I played around with a few different beat tags when I was coming up. I had like um, well, my first one was like this girl saying like another stoic production, and
yeah,
that was corny, obviously. And then I had another one that was like my rap. One of my artist friends, his name is Drew the Kid. He made me one, and it said stoic, looking fired up, and
yeah,
that was cool. But I don't know, nothing really stuck, and nothing
yeah.
really like I didn't love anything until I found that fucking laser
One,
sound. Can
yeah,
I curse?
yeah. You can
Yeah,
curse.
yeah, you're
Okay,
good. You're
all
good.
right,
Go
all right.
ahead.
Yeah, that laser sound. Um, I put it everywhere, and that's my tag now, and
Yeah,
it just goes everywhere. And I think I think a good tag improves the beat and doesn't
yeah.
distract from it. So, like, you know, Metro's tag or
Adds to it.
Pierre,
Yeah,
like those guys, like you hear that shit, you're like, woo, like
yeah,
you're about to hear something cool. So I
Yeah,
think just having that little laser, like, whew, that's it sounds nice over everything that I make. So,
yeah. I was trying to go through my high school music to find like what songs I've made over your beats, and
mhm.
there's no obnoxious tag for me like, oh, that's Stoic. Uh,
Yeah, a lot of people say like they can hear my like
Drums. So
yeah,
like now I can
they
tell if it's your beat,
that's
kind
cool.
of.
I think that's really cool because it's obviously not like a conscious decision that I make, but it makes sense because all the sounds that I pick are stuff that I like.
Yeah,
So when everything is just what I like, you're eventually going to create a sound without trying or even knowing, you
yeah.
know. So that's cool.
And something that's less fun to talk about, but very important for people listening, is the
Mm,
business side of it and actually growing your page. Obviously, talent gets you there, but that's not just it. I mean, from a fan perspective, sometimes it can literally be the picture on that you decide to post on the YouTube video that makes me click, which is
yeah,
crazy. But like,
yeah,
how do you market your music? How did you grow this brand? You have 80,000 subscribers. Maybe it's more than that.
yep, yeah,
How did you do it?
yeah. Um, Yeah, that I like that you said that because the thumbnail is so important, and it's not just with type beats, it's with all of
I mean,
YouTube. You know,
yeah,
you see interviews of like Mr. Beast talking about spending hours on optimizing his thumbnails to get people to click, and there are ways to like, you know, make sure that people click and not just scroll by your video. So things like including like bright colors in your thumbnail, like stuff that's like, or even I've found that people are drawn to like if it's like a picture of like a face, right? Like if the face has like an animated expression on it, like it's like someone yelling, like
uh,
that's the thumbnail. For whatever reason, people are drawn to that. Um, so I do spend a lot of time on trying to like curate the perfect aesthetic for that. Um, and I don't know. I also have a little bit of like synesthesia. So when I hear, if I hear this beat, oh, this sounds red, and I need to
yeah.
make sure that that matches, and you know, maybe that plays a role. But in terms of just like growing on YouTube, it was really just the consistency. Like I've been releasing a beat every other day for the past 4 years, and I still am. Um,
That's insane.
so, I have 700 plus beats up there, and, it's just a numbers game at that point, right? You have
Yeah,
so many things out there. You got to cast a wide net and see what people like. And then
yeah.
once you get those videos that like, I get a Tyler the Creator beat that I see gets 50,000 views, then I go, oh shit, I should make more of those. And it's really
Wow.
just as simple as that. But the only way like to not succeed is like
Stop.
to not be consistent, you know.
Yeah. My
Yep.
brother
Hmm.
always says to me to spread your luck surface area.
Yep.
So sometimes luck literally happens. Someone goes and buys a ticket
Yeah.
to win the lottery, but most of the time you had to put the work in for luck to even occur. Jay didn't just
Yes.
find your beat. You made enough beats that people finally found it, and maybe one video breaks. So I think that's like a
Yeah.
very important thing to keep in mind.
That's a great point. And people, when they get to a certain level, like to discount luck because some people think that luck and hard work can't work together,
Yeah.
but they do. I got extremely lucky to be found to like even have any videos, have any beats blow up in the vast sea of, producers. There's probably 10,000 type beats posted on YouTube every day. So for
Mhm.
someone to find yours and subscribe to your channel and buy a beat, that's very lucky. So
Yeah.
but you got to put yourself in the right position.
Hmm.
And
And consistency. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I really quick. It's funny because the way that the JID verse even happened was just something that I had set up with Mick. So I saw that Mick was offering features on his Instagram story way back in November last year, and I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, I'd love a feature on this song." So I sent him over a beat. The beat I sent him was the Smoke Breakdance beat, and he's like, I can't do the feature over this because I need this for my album. So,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
just putting yourself in that position, like if I had never thought to say, oh, let me get a beat from this guy, or let me get a verse from this guy, um, that would have never even happened. He wouldn't know who I am. So um, you got to just keep trying to set yourself up to be in that position and get lucky.
Hmm. And being in that that mindset of always being consistent is always the way to go. And I'm a big
Hmm.
person who firmly believes in your practice should come before looking for income. And some people might debate me on that, but even when it comes to your creative craft, you need to be able to create something that is quality enough before you start thinking about
Hmm.
cash and money, things like that. But of course, it gets to a point where you're putting so much work into your craft that you got to start making money from it. I know BeatStars is a huge platform that so many different producers use. I'm not sure about your relationship with them. I saw the billboard and all the great stuff you've been doing with them, the interviews, and that's just because of your hard work you've put in. What do you think is the best way for a producer to be heard? Or that's through BeatStars, finding a way through the YouTube community, um, whether that's making money either or just trying to get discovered. What do you
Hmm.
think?
Well, on the BeatStars end, I can't say much because
Mhm,
I don't really put too much effort or thought into growing my BeatStars audience as much as I do YouTube. And then the
Mm,
YouTube just funnels to BeatStars. So I don't really have any good pointers on there. I know a lot of people do promo on there to get their beats to the top of the charts for a week, let's say. And I've seen that work before, but um, for me, it's really just taking people from YouTube. Originally, when I started out back in 2016, I was going on Instagram and cold DMing 100 people a day to try to get them to buy a beat that they didn't want, some shitty beat,
yeah.
and it's just try to do a little bit of everything. Right now, my answer would be go on TikTok and try to get in front of as many eyes as possible because though I don't use it that much, I know that that is the way
Mm,
in 2023. Like that,
yeah.
if I was starting today, I would go crazy on TikTok, um, Instagram Reels, YouTube, whatever they call it, but Shorts. Yeah,
mhm.
Yeah.
um, that stuff right now is like changing people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what's it so we talked about this right before we recorded that you have a song with Ty Verdes, who's amazing. The song's amazing, but I remembered, I'm like, "Oh, I've used this beat before." So what
Hmm.
is it so this is a double question. What's it like hearing multiple artists use a beat and, like, obviously each artist can go such a different direction with that, like, how cool is that for you to see different artistry? And then also wait, I'm kinda blanking on what I was gonna ask. Start with that one. What's it
Yeah, I'll
like hearing
take that
multiple
one.
artists?
Um, it's weird because I'll get sent a demo from like an artist friend and I really like it. And then I'll get sent another one, but the first one is still stuck in my head and I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know if I like this. It's doesn't sound right, but that's because I already have the other one stuck in my head. For example,
yeah,
like I'll get like a rapper that sends me a demo over the beat and I'll be like, yeah, this is fire. And then the next week I'll get a singer over the same beat sending me a demo and I'm like, is this good? Like what's
yeah,
missing? But it's just because it's so different. So it is cool to see the way that people different ways that people can take a
yeah.
beat and use it.
The follow-up to that was, what's it
Mm.
like working in person versus getting those just sent to you? Like, how much more fun is it to work in person,
Um,
actually work with the rapper and being like, "Oh, I think in this pocket you can, like should have gone here
yeah,
with it."
I only I only work in person with a handful of people like CJ, um, Reyan, Nick Caution occasionally, but I it's definitely more fulfilling having
Mhm.
input and saying like, oh, let's do this. It feels like when you make when you have your final product, like you're more proud of it. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
um, but no, I like being sent demos too because it's cool. I don't even have to be in the studio. I don't have to record anyone. I don't have to do a million takes. Like I
Yeah.
just get the final product and I get to say if it's cool or not. So that's
Mhm.
also good because I'm pretty
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah, especially with in this day and age with so much technology, it's so easy to bounce tracks. It's so easy just to record in,
Hmm.
your room nowadays. I'm a big proponent of trying to be in person as much as possible to get those authentic juices going. But I really
Mm.
wanted to piggyback off what you said earlier about TikTok being the way. And if you don't know me by now, everyone knows that I'm an old head and you're from Staten Island. There's plenty of hip
Hmm.
hop old heads out there.
Yes.
And some producers, artists in general, creatives in general, they just want to make the art. They're not looking to hop on the camera and do this, do that, jucking and jiving. But
Yep.
at the same time, that is the way. So do you think there's a healthy balance between that, or do you just have to capitalize off TikTok and the algorithm and start putting out music through there and getting your face out there?
So I can't really say because I haven't seen anyone like I haven't seen a producer, let's say, um, blow up solely off of TikTok. And maybe I just haven't seen him. I'm sure it's happened, but I haven't seen it. Um, but I have seen producers like without doing the whole dancing in front of the camera thing. I'll see producers, take a video like Bailey Daniel did this last week, where he took a video of these guys skateboarding right down, like there was a sunset behind him, and all he did was overlay his beat, and that got like tens of thousands of views, and it was a great way to showcase his beat. So there's definitely a lot of ways to do it,
Yeah,
and that's probably the way that I would pick if I were trying to do that right now.
yeah. And this might be a question that Bailey could answer better since you don't really use TikTok,
Mm.
but how do you convert those casual views to actual someone to like how do they know that this is actually a beat that Bailey Daniel made and there's a place to go buy that beat?
Yeah, that's the hardest part. I mean,
Yeah,
first off, getting people to leave the TikTok app for anything is really tough because, as we know, it's super addicting. And TikTok makes it so that it's almost hard to leave the app. They don't want you to get off
yeah,
the app, they want all your time and attention. So, getting people to actually go to your YouTube or go to your Instagram or go to something else is almost impossible sometimes. But
yeah,
a good way to do that is they say people don't like the brain doesn't like notice or like take note of what it's seeing. Like you don't really make sense of something until you see it like multiple times. So I would
yeah,
say, take that beat and put it somewhere like 10 times. And by the 10th time, maybe people will be like, oh shit, I like this. Let me see if it's on
yeah.
Spotify maybe or something like that. Um, I'm
Mhm.
sure there's better ways, but I'm probably not the right guy to talk to about it.
No, that's facts
Hmm.
because like that's our idea for the podcast is posting enough clips, and we know it's hard to get someone to go to YouTube to watch a 40-minute long interview,
Yeah.
but if they see Sound Centric 6 times and each time they liked or thought the take was funny or entertaining,
Mhm.
maybe the 6th time they're like, "Alright, I keep seeing these guys, like, let
Yes.
me click the profile."
Yeah,
Hmm.
you're not gonna get people coming to whatever wherever you're trying to send them off of one video. It just doesn't work like that. Like um, it needs to be multiple and like over the span of weeks and even months maybe. But it's the same thing, consistency. If you keep at it, they'll
Yeah,
find you.
And
and
in
to
my
dive in
mind,
oh,
I'll say in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, uh, but if I was a producer and I was on TikTok, my angle would be for somebody within a label to see it. And obviously, I'm getting followers and engagements. So that's
Mhm.
credibility right there. And it's a lot more difficult for producers. So shout out to the producers who are doing this because for an artist, if somebody likes a song, okay, I'm going to look it up or see, where's the song at so I can listen to it. For producer and an instrumental, it might be more difficult. But if you're putting out great content, which people are engaging, hopefully somebody at a higher, company or something like that can give you a position, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I would just be most interested in artists finding my stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so like I've seen it before. Like one of my homies posted a song of his, and Logic commented on it saying it was fire. And actually, um, the producer, I won't say the name because they got something in the works, but the producer of that song is a friend of mine, and Logic
fire.
hit him up through a TikTok song. So
Yeah,
like that is, everyone's on TikTok now. Like every artist, all these people. Like I've had like Kenny Beats comment on my stuff before, and like
that's
Deontay
fire.
Hitchcock all the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
shit like that. So like people are on there. It's just like um,
yeah,
you got to get in front of their eyes somehow.
Yeah, it's really remarkable to see the community. That's why I guess I'm shocked by. You'd think it'd be so competitive, it's oversaturated, everyone's fighting tooth and nail, but no, people are coming
always.
together to make things work. And one of the most interesting things about you, and this might come from ignorance, but it's the fact that you have a manager, Tony DeMeo. And from what I know, I haven't seen a producer, independent producer, have a manager, let alone some independent artists who don't have managers. But as a producer, you have a manager. And I just wanted to ask why I have a manager, what he does for you, and why do you think maybe more producers should start getting a manager to help them in their career?
Well, I don't think it's necessary,
Mm.
but for me, I love the idea of I'm just going to focus on the music. You're going to take care of the other stuff because my uh, aside from the music, I have a ton of day to day stuff that would take up so much time, and it just I don't know. He does so much for me. Shout out Tony. He's the man.
Shout out
He
Tony.
was he was not just for some background. He was not involved in the music industry at all. He was just a friend of mine from college, um, and he just has such a love for music. And he was always really involved in what I was doing. And I'm like, damn, you want to be like my manager? Because I have this stuff I could use you for. And he's really good at networking. I'm not very good at talking about like, myself and like
Yeah,
marketing myself to other people. So he takes care of that, finds shows, like sets up shows. He got us at SOBs, which is like
fire.
pretty big music
Yeah.
spot in New York City. He got us to play there, and now we're welcome back, and we're gonna go again, and like all this stuff he does. It's just it really saves me a lot of time and headaches, and helps us go further in less time.
Hmm. Yeah. Let me
Yeah,
put it
I'm
this
telling
way
you.
too. I'll say it's needed if you're not willing to get into the music business though, because I know like most artists they're just trying to make the music. They don't want to
yeah,
deal with all of that.
yeah,
And a manager can definitely help at the end of the day.
yeah, and I mean that's just the beginning of what he does for me. Like, for example, we're working on the album Piranha right now, and the amount of stuff that goes on behind the scenes for making an album, especially now that I'm working with people that are a little higher up, um, having to deal with their labels, having to go back and forth. Can we release this song? Do we need sample? Like, do we have to say
Mhm.
where the sample came from? Stuff like that. Like all this
Yeah.
back end stuff. He's completely on top of that. Whereas if it was me, this album wouldn't even come out because it's way too much. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into the album. Well, first, I want to say that you work with so many amazing artists that people should listen to. So I'm just going to read off a couple. Sorry if I pronounced their name wrong.
Oh
Hopefully, I
yeah.
do not. Ben Beal, who is my brother's good college friend. So shout out Ben Beal.
Ah,
I
that's
love his
cool.
music.
Yeah, Ben's
Um,
the homie.
Deontay, we talked about. Need him on. We need a full album from you guys because him over those beats is undefeated. Nick Caution, Eric the Architect. I mean, dude, you
Yo,
got the whole.
Deontay, if you're listening to this, let's get an album. Let's do it. The
We all
people want
want
it.
Deontay. He responded to my tweet today, so I'm
That's
gonna tweet
fire.
at him again. We're gonna spam him.
That's fire.
Um, you got like the whole Beast Coast. You got Nick Caution. You got Eric the Architect. That's crazy. And Nick, the songs that he's on your beats are insane. Like
Oh
he's so
yeah.
good at rapping.
Yeah. We got a lot more coming, let's just say.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Azar, you're on the new Azar album with the single. I have that stuck in my head right now.
Oh
Jev,
yeah, yeah.
who's Jev is all over my Twitter. People just
Yep.
talking about him. But
Yep.
you're working with CJ, someone because you're obviously a Joey Badass fan. You're
Of
obviously a
course.
1999 fan.
Of
CJ
course.
Fly, an instrumental part of that album. Obviously, his own
Hmm.
music's amazing too. How did this? How are you guys together? How are you ranking the album together? What does it sound like? The singles are crazy.
Ooh.
Tell
So
us.
yeah, I got to shout out a good friend. Her name is Chelsea Reject. She's an artist. She makes amazing music. Also, she's a rapper from Brooklyn,
Shout out
and
Chelsea.
we she found me off YouTube, and then we started working together. Hitting the studio like a few times a month, and then she was like childhood friends with CJ, and also another artist from Pro Era. Her name is Tina Apex.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
who was also featured on 1999. But
Mhm.
I got close with Chelsea and then Tina, and then I knew Nick Caution through other means, just like kind of by accident, like we met. So it just kind of all came together, and then we started making music, and they were like, "Yo, CJ, you got to hear this kid. Like, you guys would make some fire together." And then we just kind of linked up, and we became really good friends too. Like during the process of the album, CJ would drive up to my crib from Brooklyn like once a week. He would sleep here. Like we
That's sick.
go out to dinner together. Like he's a great dude, and
Yeah.
I yeah, it's been a nice experience. But the album is really, really, really good. I really can't wait for people to hear it.
Yeah. And
There's
you guys are putting the marketing into it. I mean, you have the whole boat short video. Like
yeah,
it definitely feels like a step up from like a marketing perspective of how much work you guys are putting into the product.
yeah, and again, that goes back to, well, obviously CJ's been doing this a lot longer than I have, so he knows what has to go into it.
Yeah.
But now for this album, I have Tony on board, and he's been very instrumental in, setting up things with music videos and doing editing for me, and hiring like videographers to document behind the scenes stuff. Like all of this, is wouldn't have been done without both of them. So very lucky to have them.
And it's really important too with that marketing aspect. And I know a lot of times independent artists can be somewhat defeated in a sense, not trying to market, getting that behind the scenes view. And recently, you guys released the music video for Bumbo, if I pronounced that right.
Yes.
What went into that, and also the importance of marketing again. Uh, honestly, I think that over time, I think there's been less emphasis on music videos, but people are still putting pressure and still putting gas to the
I
flame.
love them.
So, why do you think that's important?
Yeah. Well, I do feel like music videos became a little less important over time, but now when we're in the era of 30-second clips and TikToks and Reels, they're beginning to become more important than ever, I think.
Yeah,
There's so many artists that I've found just from having dope music videos. Specifically, this dude. I don't know if you guys have heard of Benjamin Earl Turner.
maybe. I'm sure it's come up on
He,
my Twitter.
he has this one video. I'm blanking on the name right now, but he has this one video that it was like the best music video I've seen all year, and it's just this unknown guy, pretty relatively
Yeah,
unknown guy, and from there on, I've been a fan of his just from that one video. So you really can't underplay the importance of it. Also, being able to go viral, get a million views on a 30-second clip of a music video does a lot for you. It puts you in front of a
yeah.
lot of eyes, and helps with connections and
Mhm.
all that good stuff.
So a lot of people might be wondering this when it comes to getting beats to people who might be higher up in their career right now. So
Hmm.
say Ben Beal or say, I mean, Nick Caution, you kind of touched on how that happened. Is
Hmm.
he on YouTube seeing your beat? Did you reach out to him? Does he reach out to you? Is it a mutual respect thing? Like, yeah, let's just get something.
Yeah, so for Ben specifically, it was like that. Um, I'd always known of Ben for the past few years. He has some pretty gigantic songs out.
Hmm.
But I think with that, it was kind of just like seeing each other in the same circles, which is also important. Just like a lot of people like to call it networking, but I think it's just like whenever I see someone dope on, doing their thing, putting out good music, I just reach out to them and I say, yo, this is awesome. Like, I don't hit them with like, yo, are you trying to work? Like, yo, I got beats for you. I actually never do that anymore. I never DM someone and say, yo, I got beats. Like,
Yeah,
rarely do that. Um, I'll pretty much just say, yo, the new single's crazy or the new EP is crazy. Like, and people are receptive to that because you're just being a person. Like,
yeah,
so many people get lost in like trying to like, move up and all this stuff. They forget like people just want that human interaction. So just be normal.
yeah,
And I've seen so much good come from just like trying to be a friend rather than, work.
yeah. Amine touched on this in an interview and on the album with K Tronada, but K Tronada years ago just hit him up, and now years later they're both
Yeah.
top of their game, making an amazing album together.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm
I mean, it also comes down to like making all those little plays because like Ben probably, for example, wouldn't have known he might not have known about me before I dropped the song with Mick and Jib,
yeah,
right? So I got a lot of eyes on me from that, and then I'm able to kind of leverage that and just be like, hey, I make some cool stuff. Maybe we should make cool stuff together.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, all of that, and it just comes back to consistency and just getting your stuff in front of people. You know.
Mhm.
Hmm. And you're putting in the work 24/7 along with the Mick Jenkins project, Piranha, of course. You also dropped an album of Reyan back in
Shout out Reyan.
February. So I wanted you
Yes.
to have the platform to talk about that, how that went, and the process behind the album.
Yeah, Rayon is he's just a friend. So we both grew up in Staten Island. We went to the same
Mhm.
high school, and we've just been boys since then. Um, but I remember when I started making beats back in 2016. Um, he was rapping for fun. He's always been writing and freestyling. He was just always that dude, like at school, that was fucking. He's the
Mhm.
rapper kid, and but he is not. He's one of the nicest rappers in the world. Like I stand by that. And Yeah, we just I think we got in the studio just for fun because we that's just something we like to do back in 22. We got in the studio one day and we're like, ah, this song's really good. We should put it out. And then we're like, maybe we should just make a whole album. Like, let's make 9 more songs and just put it out as an
Yeah.
album because neither of us had ever released an album before. And I think we wrapped that up over the course of like 4 months. And I really love Dummy. I wish it that more people will hear it. Hopefully one day when they go back in the discography. But Dummy is a really, really it's very close to my heart. That album.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And that's why I
awesome.
wanted to give you that platform to speak about it because it's an exceptional album. Reyan, I saw you guys' in-house Tiny Desk concert. He
Yes.
is an incredible
Awesome.
rapper, and
Yes.
I know that collaboration has always been a part of hip hop. The producer and the rapper. Back then, instrumental albums used to be a huge role, like in terms of getting that out there. Not so much anymore. But do you think producers should also focus on just putting out instrumental works out there, or do you think they should use their time more wisely with collaborating with an artist?
You know, I'm probably in the minority here, but I don't love instrumental albums that much.
Yeah.
Um, the best one I think I've ever heard, or I've heard in recent years, was Kenny Beats' Louis album.
Oh,
That's
so
one
good.
of my favorite albums of all time. And I think he did it the best, like almost like the best I've ever heard. Every song is so engaging and like keeps you interested. Every 2 bars, something changes, or he adds
Yeah.
something in or takes something out, and it's like, damn, like you could tell this guy was really like he put a lot of thought into how he wanted it to come across. Some instrumental albums are literally just like you can tell they just made a beat, looped it for 2 minutes, and then did that 20 times. And
Yeah.
like there's really no character to that. I also love the Alchemist put out a beat tape last year or 2 years ago. It's called The Food Villain,
Oh,
and
the Action
it
Bronson one on that. Oof.
there is one track with action, but the rest of it is instrumental, and it's great because he uses clips from Action Bronson's show. Fuck, that's delicious,
Yeah.
and it's funny. It's like it keeps your attention. The beats are amazing. I think if you're going to make an instrumental album, you have to have a little more to it. You have to have skits.
Yeah.
You have to have really, really like just engaging beats, like you
Yeah.
know. But that's
Yeah.
just what I think. Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
that Remy Wolf one had a verse in it or something on the Kenny Beats
Oh my
album.
God. No,
It's so good.
that song is perfect. I love
I
that
mean,
song.
it's great with our high pitched vocal. And
Yeah.
all one more shout out, Action Bronson, get on a Stoic beat. The hell? What are you
Yeah.
doing?
I it's funny. Like earlier this year, I went to Action Bronson's. He has like a block party thing that he
Yeah, I
hosts
saw
with
that.
where he cooks, and I met him and I gave him some homemade empanadas that my
Fire.
mom made, and I slipped
That's
in
awesome.
a flash drive of beats for him. But I don't
Yeah.
know if he ever. I mean, he never got back to me. So either he didn't like him or he didn't see him.
Man,
But
he liked
one
them.
day, one day.
But you've named a bunch of producers and rappers who are so amazing. So I'm curious, who are like your goats? Who are you looking at? Who do you
Hmm.
want to work with? Who have you met that's kind of like maybe dropped some knowledge on you that's been like great to a rising producer in the game?
Uh, I'd say my goat, just in general, a few of them are Kendrick, Earl, and Tyler's up there.
Yeah, of
MF Doom. MF Doom kind of
course.
got me into making music. Between MF Doom and Tyler, their styles of production really like paved
Yeah,
the way for me to be like, oh shit, like this is really cool. I want to try making this. Um, so those are my goats. I would love to work with Earl. He's probably the top of the list. And I'd say, honestly, the most knowledge I've gotten from like any artist that I've met or worked with is from CJ. Like this dude
that's
is
sick.
like,
Yeah,
he's been all around the world performing music, um, and just has so many like pieces of advice for me. He's a little bit older than me, so he's
yeah.
a little more experience in life, and he really just like um, I don't know. He says some good stuff sometimes, but I'm done gassing him up because I hope he doesn't watch this. I got to throw in some insults
What
soon.
This is on the spot. What's your favorite Tyler beat?
Ooh,
I gotta think about this for myself.
yeah. I really love. I was just listening to Two Seater, so that's like fresh
Ah,
in my mind. Two
yeah.
Seater's amazing. I think that whole album, Cherry Bomb, is some of the craziest beats. Like
Oh, they're
Smuckers, obviously.
that's
Um,
Smuckers was my answer probably.
yeah, Smuckers is crazy. Um, oh, Corso on "Call Me If You Get
Mhm.
Lost." One of the hardest beats I ever heard in my life. When I heard
It
that,
goes
like,
and live.
yeah, that was my most listened to song actually of 2021 or 2022. But that beat is amazing, really crazy.
Talking that fresh shit. I don't need gum.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
also
live too. I saw him live in Vegas. That it went crazy, crazy.
probably my probably my favorite show ever that I've seen. I saw him in Columbus. Also,
Oh
dropping
fire,
seeds. I just need Lil Wayne on an album produced.
yeah,
But I keep tweeting this. Wayne just either work with Westside Gunn or work with
yeah.
Tyler Creator and get him
Oh,
some good beats.
full album produced by Tyler with just Wayne and Kanye. That shit would be
Dude,
amazing.
because
Hmm.
my only Wayne hang up is that
Hang up.
some of the beats that he chooses are just not for me personally. But he
Yeah,
comes out with this Benny song over that
mhm,
instrumental and sticking to that dog subject. And I'm like, yo,
yeah.
just do this for a
I
whole
know.
album.
There's so who I think would really benefit from a switch up in beats is Drake. I would love a Drake
Conductor.
album. Not yeah, obviously Conductor is,
Hmm.
very like relevant, but even a Drake what about a Drake album produced by the Alchemist or produced by
I
Madlib?
I
That
mean,
would be the craziest shit.
I'm
Oh my
my
god.
I'm
my
sorry to
sh
break it to y'all, but we're
it's
not
gonna
getting that
happen,
old Drake. We gotta move forward, y'all.
Yo,
bro.
no, not old Drake, but think of
Just
Drake in like 10, 15 years when he's starting to age, Kind of like a Jay-Z 444 when he
with
just
no
kind of
ID.
reflects
Yeah.
on shit. I think that like or even No ID if he produced Drake stuff, like that would be amazing. And I think we're going to get it, but I think we got to wait
Okay.
like
Yeah.
till Drake gets old.
I just want to put
No.
some perspective. At that age, Jay Z dropped American Gangster, and right now we're getting that BBL freestyle. So, just
Yeah. Yeah, it's different. Well, it's different too because it's a generational thing, right? Like
yeah,
Yeah.
like everything right I don't just this is the culture right now and that was then, so it's hard to say, but
yeah. I'm
yeah,
just
Drake.
messing.
No, these are good points.
My list of artists that should work with Alchemist is an infinite list. I've tweeted
Yeah.
so many times where I'm like, I have to stop doing this. I'm like, Doja Cat, why isn't she working with Alchemist? Then I'm like,
Yo,
I mean,
Doja Cat on her last album has some bars, like
she does, but she made it seem like it was gonna be all bars, all
I
Alchemist
know,
beats, and it wasn't.
I
Some of the
know.
songs like Balut, Alchemist vibes.
Yeah,
Dude,
she
she
got
needs
this one on there called 97, and that is like one of the
Oh
craziest like
yes.
Adult Swim sounding beats. I
yeah.
love that shit so much.
Or
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite beats from the year? If you can, I know you said you're bad with keeping track of the
Oh
year.
yeah.
Guapanese is up there for me. 'Cause that
Guapanese ain't shit.
or that piano roll, that's just the shit that, like, gets me excited.
Shouts out the homie Culture because he really he found that sample, sent it over, and I just did what I had to do, chopped it, and
Bro,
that yeah, it came together really nice.
that's a song where I'm freestyling whenever Mick Jenkins is not rapping on the beat.
I
You guys gotta
love
keep the
that.
beat loaded.
I love that.
Try Sam, what are your favorite beats as he's looking for
Yeah,
his?
I was
give
gonna
me some
say to
time.
make it easier for me, I just had an album instead of a track to
Okay.
keep it easier for me.
Okay.
This is not hip hop. This was a pop album that dropped by Caroline
Alright.
Polachek. She's a pop artist, and obviously when it comes
Mm,
to pop, we know how repetitive production can be. But she took it to the next stage with this production sound, with along with her like vocal inflections and things like that. The album is "Desire I Want to Turn Into You." That's one of the best projects so
mm.
far this year, and I promise you, you're gonna see it on the Grammy with the nominations
Wow,
and possibly a
Yeah.
win. So it's a
I
great
gotta check
album.
it out. I found
She was
mine
in a
though.
band.
Oh,
She was in
sorry.
a band before this single as independent as an artist by herself,
Hmm.
and she had like a bunch of samples and things like that of Kanye West using it for the Yeezus era.
Oh, shit.
That's
Loki didn't
cool.
credit her, so there are some issues there, but we
Mm.
keep it pushing. But it's all good.
Damn, that's interesting.
Mhm.
No, I found my beat though. It is
Mm,
"Shut Up" by Overcast.
I don't
mm.
Do
think
you
I've
guys
heard
know
that
this?
one. No, I don't know this one.
I've
I'm gonna
heard
write
it
it down.
actually. That's a
It's
great
it
beat.
it's
I like
amazing. It's
Overcast though.
one of the
Mm,
hardest beats I've heard. And also from the same EP, he has this song called "Reset" that has like a beat
mhm.
switch, and the second beat on there is amazing. Uh, Shouts out Overcast. That dude is
He's fire.
gonna be one of the biggest artists like in the next few years.
Hmm.
I think he's incredible.
For
Yeah.
me, I have a
And
few. I have a
no,
few of
go
them
go
to
ahead.
name.
Mm,
So my normal taste of like a fire ass beat is just sample heavy,
yeah.
Alchemist, Madlib type stuff. But I will not stop talking about this album. Jordan Ward and his executive
Oh
producer Lido,
yes, Lido. Yeah,
where
yeah,
they just have such a sound to them. The same way that like Monte Booker, you just know it's a Monte Booker beat,
yes,
and
yeah.
Smino has a sound to him, and they're both St. Louis, and it's different sounds, but they're both so unique that I can see why he fit with him. But that
I
album's
think Fam Jam or
song of the year.
Charamoya. I like some of my favorite songs I've heard in recent years. Just so good,
Years.
so good. Yeah,
And I don't IDC or I Don't Care with Junie. Like,
yeah,
those 2 in a
yeah,
row, like, those are my 2 top 2 songs of the year.
yeah. So fire. That may be my top album of the year. But honestly, no, that's not my top album of the year. Isn't even hip hop. It's
Word. Put us
You
on.
guys listen to King Cruel?
Mm-mm.
I don't.
King Cruel. He's
You gotta
I'm
put us
right down.
on.
he's this dude out of the UK.
I know the
Um,
name.
yeah, he's been going for like 10 years. He's been pretty big for 10 years, but it's like alt rock, but like really like dark, but also like pretty and melodic. And his
Yeah.
voice, he sounds like a monster, but it's gorgeous. And he has this album, Space
Yeah,
Heavy.
Space Heavy. Hmm.
Yeah, probably my favorite project of the year. It's amazing.
Damn, I'm about to check that out. I'm trying
Oh,
to think.
you
I
got
You
like,
it.
gotta check that out.
on the Conway album, which feels like it dropped years ago, but Chosen with Jay Skis, if you know what that is, that beat is fire.
I don't think I've heard that.
It's a really good album.
I'm gonna have to tap
Trying
into
to think.
that.
Oh, on the West Side Gun album, it's Suicide and Something. That beat is insane. You got DJ Drama Young in front of it.
Hmm.
That one's crazy.
Yeah.
Secret Recipe beat with Yachty.
Yes. Secret Recipe.
Hmm.
The
That's an
what's
Alchemist
it
ass
called?
beat.
Kitchen
Kitchen
on the
Lights,
West Side, Kitchen Lights. Yeah, that beat is
fire.
crazy. That beat is really beautiful. Obviously, Conductor on the Drake album. 8 a.m.
It, I mean, we can't stop talking about it. He needs to just
I
do
know
an album of songs like that because
he
everyone.
does.
And this is the first album that I've seen where a month later, everyone's kind of together saying the 3 best songs were like "What Would Pluto Do,"
Yeah.
8 a.m. in Charlotte, and the J. Cole. Like, dude,
Yeah,
just
the J
don't you
Cole
see
one.
what
Yeah.
fans are liking? Just do it.
Exactly.
It
I Drake,
angers me so much.
One of my favorite Drake songs in recent years is Champagne Poetry.
Yes,
Um,
Freddie Gibbs killed that shit.
yeah, amazing. But now I like Drake's version better, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Drake,
it's
I
great.
think it was produced by Sango, if I'm not mistaken,
I think
or
you're right.
Masego. No,
Masego, yeah,
Sango.
Mm.
Masego.
yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. That
For
beat is
my
amazing, and
my
yeah.
issue with Drake is sometimes the album doesn't feel like a full album, but to
Hmm.
start an album called Certified Lover Boy with like, I love you," like,
Yeah,
that's how you start that shit.
it is cohesive. Yeah, that album is
Well,
terrible.
yeah. Well,
That
now it's
album's
about
horrible.
playlisting, right? Making playlist albums
That's
and
what he
getting the
does.
singles out.
Yep.
And before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask your opinion on, the future, at least where production is going, producers are headed, getting their music out there. And I know recently you dropped Matt Chop's Volume One, basically a sample pack. And I know how important sampling is. There's a lot of producers, again, mostly the old heads like me. When they look at production, they say that you should be starting from scratch. You need to make it from scratch. But do you think that's true? Do you think it's okay to be able to use sample packs and use what's the advertisement that pops up on YouTube all the time? What's it called? You know what I'm
Splice.
talking about? Spice, Splice. Yep,
Yes,
Yeah.
spices everywhere. What do you think about that?
keep sampling.
Oh my God.
Mm,
Yeah. No, use anything.
mm,
I've used TikTok videos of people playing the piano, not even like into a
Yeah,
mic, just into their
mm,
phone. And I
fire.
take that, I download it, do my TikTok to MP3, and I'll sample that. I'll sample any sound, any a video off an iPhone. I don't care.
Yeah,
I think it's great. I think it's really interesting to see what people are attracted to and be like, oh, you know what? That sounds really cool. Um, Let me take that and use it this way.
yeah,
And I think it's beautiful. You know, that's my stance on
yeah.
sampling. I'm going to be sampling forever.
I
yeah.
got one last question for you
Oh yeah.
that so there's always this debate, and Cole says this on Note to Self, if you've ever listened to all of Note to Self.
Hmm.
But he's like, if you put your music in the world, you should let other artists be inspired by your music and use it. I believe it's Sting who takes like 95% or 100% of songs that sample Sting.
Damn.
Should what is overreach by an artist? Like, I get it, you want credit because someone is utilizing your sound, but shouldn't you also be happy that you're getting shown to another demographic, that your music's still inspiring? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, and to be fair, I've never been in the position where someone has taken my stuff and sampled it, right?
Yeah.
I'm usually on the opposite end where I'm sampling other people. But I think, you know, fair is fair. Like, I think a 50% split, if you really even want to do that, I think 50 is more than fair, because they're still putting elements, they're putting a lot of work into using your sample. And I know a lot of the times it's not even the artist who made the sample that's upset about it. It's their label or the estate or whoever is, getting, all up in arms about it. But I think true artists are like very fine with that because they know that the inspiration and the influence comes from anywhere. So, and it does provide so much exposure. Like, there are so many songs that are sampled. Like, I'll see it even on like TikTok a lot, actually. Like, people will use a song that West Side Gun sampled on one of his songs, but now they're actually just bumping the original song, which is some like soul song from the 70s. And now like that band has a whole new audience because of West Side Gun. So like,
that's
I wouldn't be upset about it.
That's the fun in music. The amount of artists I've discovered because I looked up who the sample was. I'm listening to Stevie Wonder. I'm like, is this a Smile beat? Oh, this is what Smile by Jay-Z sampled. It all comes together.
Yeah, and it makes it almost makes it more enjoyable when you hear that. Like, I'll listen to like MF Doom, and he would sample. Actually, a lot of people would sample Steely Dan. So Kanye would sample Madlib, MF Doom, and I'll listen to that. I'll be like, oh, that's from that song, and it makes you like the other song more too. I think, at least. Yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll be in a retail store, and I'm like, oh, I know this sample. I'm better than
you. Yeah. It's a great feeling.
It really shows how important producers are, and people forget it. They can really make or break the song. And of course, when it comes to finances, like you said, it's always important for producers to stand up for themselves, try to get that 50-50 split or whatever type of percentage they can get for the track. But do you think currently producers are getting like a fair shot, or at least being respected in terms of the business aspect of things, being paid out correctly? And then also, what do you think about the role of the producer too? Are we in a good space for producers, especially with the creative freedom and being independent and being able to put your artwork out there?
I will say, I personally feel like as a producer, I've gotten fair treatment from like 99% of the artists I've worked with. We're all on the same team at the end of the day, and I think everyone knows that deep down. And I think right now is the best time to be a producer and to like brand yourself as an artist as well. 20 years ago, no one knew who produced a song unless it was, maybe Dr. Dre or Timbaland or maybe, the Neptunes. But like right now, there's so many artists, there's so many producers that are basically artists. Like, you got guys like Metro dropping albums. You got guys like, on the other side, Kenny Beats dropping albums, like, and people know these people by face. And I think that's pretty cool because, that really wasn't the case for a long time.
Man, just spitting game today. We tend to go way longer than our script because we love hearing about all this stuff. But we want to give you a spot to shout out your socials, where they can find you.
Oh yeah, you could find me on YouTube. I'm just Stoic _ on Instagram, Twitter, everything else. I'm Stoic Be Good, because Stoic was taken.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Stoic, for being here. It means a lot. You shared a lot of gems and a lot of knowledge. Hopefully, people will follow through and listen to the right things to do and the steps to get forward in their career. But I finished at the end. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Hey, and if you don't think that sampling is art, don't listen to our podcast.
Then
hey, it's a lot of talk.